Do you believe that understanding and taking time to learn about certain cultural customs that are foreign to us Americans would help get rid of stereotypes within our society?
Absolutely. I think that every single person should try and learn about other people's cultures to understand where somebody's coming from. I think a lot of Americans make judgments on other people based on things we don't even know about. So the more I think people branch out, befriend, understand, and become educated about other people's cultures, the more we can kind of eliminate racism or judgments and things like that.
Okay. In today's world, what do you believe is considered cultural appropriation? Because our society today has taken to social media to voice their opinions, and they aren't very supportive.
Okay, so are you asking me about what is cultural appropriation, or what do I think is?
What do you think is, and like, what do you think is overstepping the boundary,
Okay.
or like not overstepping the boundary?
I think that's a really hard question. I think that anything that you deem that could potentially be offensive in any way is overstepping boundaries. However, I think if you're doing something celebratory, so for instance, if you're doing something where it has to do with the fashion of another culture or preparing food from another culture, or something that is celebratory, kind of celebrating that culture, or something, you know, that is positive, absolutely. I think that there are times when people could overstep the boundaries. So for instance, you know, one of the things that's been in the social media a lot of time is blackface. Is it okay to paint your face black? If you're not black, even if you're impersonating somebody that you're celebrating, that's a hard line, because I think people see that as, oh, well, it's a good thing, they want to be like this person, but there's also some dark history behind it, and so I think that is sort of overstepping the boundaries.
Okay. Knowing that there is still inequality between sexes today, both in more developed countries and less developed countries, do you believe that America or more developed countries with a higher sex ratio could help lower developed countries where women and young girls aren't able to get a better education or have a career?
So you're asking if people in more developed countries can help women, so if women in more developed countries could help women in other countries sort of gain an education.
Yeah.
I think it would be hard because, first of all, women in these more developed countries would have to have access to those people in other countries, and if other countries have women that are obviously, if the country's less developed, I don't know how we have access to them, and I think it's really unfortunate for other women in other cultures to not be afforded an education. But at the same time, I don't know if they have, like if they have social media, that could be an outreach. But I don't know how else you have access to those women. You know what I mean? Like I would love to empower those women and be like, yes, we can get you an education, but I don't have access to these people. So I think that's the hard part, is just sort of like the boundaries. How do you talk to those women? How do you gain access to communicate with those women?
This is the last question. Do you believe that the area where you live and where you go to school as you grow up affect your ability to get in a good university as well as having a future career?
I do. I think that, you know, not everybody is handed the same cards when they're born. And unfortunately, even though we tote society in America as being completely equal, the sad reality is it's not. I mean, it seems like people who are in a place where they're more financially stable, where they're in a community that is more affluent, I think they're afforded better opportunities, whether that's right, wrong, or indifferent. I don't think we're always equal, and I think it's a sad reality. I think if somebody works really hard and they have good people in their life as support systems, you can rise out of that, but the statistics are often stacked against those people, unfortunately.